Hey, hey, hey.
Hello, hello, hello. It's Thursday.
But this time, not only is it Thursday, which means the More Than I Do virtual live podcast, it is
the Thursday, the beginning of the NFL season.
I love it. I love it. I love it. How is everybody doing today? I'm Sherelle, your host.
And I'm Derek, and welcome to the More Than I Do virtual live podcast.
We're so excited to see you here today and to listen to us today. Listen, today we're talking about, if I can get the hair out my mouth.
Okay, while you're doing that, today we're talking about protecting what you have built.
Protecting at all costs.
At all costs.
At all costs. Protecting what you have built. We're talking marriage and business today.
Yes. It's important that you actually built something. How do you protect it?
Well, let me just say, again, I'm Sherelle. This is Derek. We've been married for 16 years and business for 8 years, and we definitely have something to say. So today we're talking about protecting what you built at all costs. So what does that mean? Good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff. My first question, especially when we were coming up with this topic, is what are we protecting it from? And so one of the things we talked about, protecting it from outside influences. Yeah.
Outside influences. Yeah, definitely. So I think let's back up real quick. Back up really quick and talk about not only what we're protecting it from, but why does it need protection?
Well, it needs protection because it's important. Your marriage is important. Your business that you built is important. The life that you're building is important. And it needs protecting because there's outside forces that want to stop you.
Want to stop you? And it may not be that they want to stop you, right? It could be that some people are against you and they just don't want you to succeed. Others could be jealousy, could be whatever.
Yep.
Others may think that they're doing good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. People think that they're doing good for you, and actually they're causing you more harm than good.
And then lastly, could be someone who just wants to give their advice. They're two cents.
That is true. You know, I heard a statement one time which made me actually giggle. What is it? Hell is full of people with good intentions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard that one, but that one's interesting. Okay. So you start talking about one of the three things that we want to talk about today. And that was
protecting what you've built from outside influences.
So outside or external influences. Secondly, we're going to talk about today internal conflicts. And lastly, we want to leave you guys with
self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. Ooh. All right. So let's get started with the outside or external influences. And, you know, one of the reasons why I think that we chose to go with that first rather than internal is because a lot of times you can have it all together, be on the same page, know everything that's happening. And here comes those outside influences that whether for good or for bad or for worse are coming in, and they can wreak havoc on your marriage or your business.
Yeah. You know, you have to be careful on where you're getting your information from. And a lot of times we get information and it's not really sound information, but you take it back into your walls of where you live and it just wreaks havoc over any situation.
Because it doesn't fit. It doesn't mean that it's bad or wrong information. It just doesn't fit what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. And I think that's the key thing is, number one, what's the core mission, whether it's in the marriage. And yes, I said a mission within the marriage. And what's the mission in the business? And does it fit that core mission? Because just because you could have two hairdressers, and just because they both are hairdressers, and just because they both do hair, doesn't mean everything is the right thing for them. You can have a hairdresser that is avant-garde and loves art and thinks of your head as a canvas. to do art, which means that they're going to have the latest trends and all the different things that are out there, probably really good colorists, right? And haircuts and all that kind of stuff is going to be just out there. Then you have another hairdresser that has the same business, but she's into hair care, healthy hair, making your hair grow, making sure it's healthy, not looking at trends, but more so making sure that you have something that you can have for a long time as far as health and hair, right? Doesn't mean they can't cut, doesn't mean they can't color. They may be really good at that too, but that's not their primary thing. Their primary thing is making sure you got good conditioner and you're doing great things for your hair. So if someone came to both of these people and they said to them, you know what? You should open a pop-up shop where you include art. May sound like a good idea. You can do art styles and all of these different things. May sound like a good idea, but will it fit both of them?
No, it's going to fit the artist. I love when you give that analogy, especially to business owners, right? Because both of those business owners are hairdressers, right? Both of them are doing great jobs, but they are focused in their why and why they're doing it. And so if I'm into healthy hair and I go to this artist
pop-up shop
or whatever,
something I just made up,
and they do something artistic with my hair, I may feel as if I got a bad hairdo, and I can go back and give a bad review for someone who actually did a great job.
Right.
But if I went to the healthy hair pop-up shop, I would have been 100% satisfied because I'm focused on, because my goal is their mission.
Right. For your hair.
For my hair.
When you had hair.
Funny jokes.
So that's just an example of a kind of out there example, but an example of how you can be in the same business and people can have all kinds of ideas for the business that you're in, and think that you need to do all these different things in marketing and how you hire and who you hire and the way you solicit and your brand and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't go back to the core mission of who you are, why you're here, and the people that you serve, if it doesn't fit that, then guess what? It may not be for you, and it can cause you to go into lanes that stunt the growth of the business.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things we do with our clients is really focus down to what the core is. Once you can get to the core, the road becomes so much clearer. You get all of the forest and the trees out of the way, and you have this straight road, and you know exactly where, as you mentioned, where to market, where to be. You know, that we gave the example of one business wanted to do some things at a high level, and once we got clear of where their customers were, actually going and doing some volunteer charity work put them right dead in the middle of the people that they were trying to connect with to grow their business. And so it saved, God knows, hundreds of thousands of dollars
of
marketing.
Marketing dollars, number one, and then not to mention the time spent, labor spent out in different places that they shouldn't have been, and our salespeople spent out in places that they shouldn't have been, and then not to mention the bottom line at the end of the day. So it actually added profit on because they got to exactly where they needed to be. But so many times people have great, and they're great things to do.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many avenues to make revenue.
Oh yeah.
And that you can just go after all of them. And this is one thing that I've been sitting, babe, we were sitting in the house this week. And one of the things that I was thinking about as we're going through this pandemic and everybody's sitting home and kind of looking at a lot of things, and there's so many things that you can do and avenues you can go to. And I'm sure people are coming up with 25 million ideas of things that they can do with their business. It took me back to a segment that we did called Keeping the Main Thing the Main Thing. But more so than that, it was not just what's my main thing, it's consistency. This is like noise. Everything that's happening around you is like noise that you get distracted and go over here and try to make money and go over here. When all you have to do is be consistent with what you have. Now, are there some tweaks or different things that we may need to look at inside of that? Absolutely, because we're in a different world now, right? We went from brick and mortar to virtual type settings in a lot of different ways. But in that, what got your business going, what got you moving in business, be consistent. And a lot of people consumers are looking for consistency. Yeah. Not who has the latest hoo-hoo, I'm over here.
Right. And going with the fad and chasing after money. I really believe those entrepreneurs out there that we're talking to are similar to me, where I can see something and boom, I have a business idea, or I can see something, boom, I have a business idea. Just because you have an idea doesn't mean you need to divert all of your resources from what your actual goal is. Yeah. And so again, that's where those outside influences kind of come in and kind of take you off path, because you're right. People say, man, you can do this right here and make some quick money. Okay, yeah, I can do that and make some quick money, but is it the main thing, and is it going to help me get to the goal that I want to be in?
Right. And so what you just talked about is what we call hustling, which we won't go into today, but there's a difference in building business and hustling.
Definitely.
So hustling is I got to get up every day and find the money or find what I need. Building a business gives you the longevity to be able to, if you're down sometimes, the business is still moving along. So there's consistency from not just an income, but just a consistency from delivery, consistency from receiving payment, consistency from everything. So you can kind of calculate it out. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We want to be very clear that when we talk about protecting what you built, you've built a business, and you want to make sure that you're protecting the business, because everybody has great ideas. We talked about the business side for outside influences. I was trying to think if there's anything that came up recently with our business that would, I've been in some with everything that's going on right now and the pulse of just society. I've taken on some passion projects, and they very much could take you off onto another lane. And I'm not saying that you should just only do your business and that's all you got to do every single day. No, you have passion projects and different things. Definitely go volunteer time, give back, all of those things, and expand yourself and make sure that you're continuing to grow. But one of the things that I was very clear about from the beginning, even in doing the passion projects, was like, this is not what feeds me.
That's right.
So I need to make sure that I'm keeping up with what's feeding me and making sure I'm continuing to move that along, even as I'm in the passion project. So there were things that people wanted me to do in some of those projects that I had to look and say, where's my time divide and my resource divides? And what makes sense? Yes, I would love to do more of that, but I like to eat and I like to eat consistently.
And like to have a roof over your head.
So I love the roof over my head and turn the heat and air up as much times as I want to.
Yes.
Because I get cold and hot and cold and hot. That's a whole nother story though, ladies, you got me. So, so that's kind of something else you look at when you look at outside influences, that it may not even be about the business itself. It could be about other things that you're part of or other things that you're doing, and just making sure that you're not diverting so much time and so much resources away from what the main thing is, the thing that you built, the thing that has lasted this long, and the thing that's helping you and your family to live and survive. Remember, there's a goal at the end of this, and we're not just looking at getting wealthy. We're looking at, number one, leaving a legacy, generational wealth. Number three, being able to just take care of ourselves and our families right now. So that's from a business perspective. And then we look from a marriage perspective when we talk about outside influences. I'm gonna just turn around, let you just go ahead and take that one away. Outside influences, what you got?
I don't know. When I think about outside influences, you know, it could be, I don't know, driving down the street and seeing a pretty woman or something, right? Something outside influence. It can be something as.
Where you go with this? Wait a minute. Where we going with the pretty woman? Hold on.
I'm just saying that's an outside influence.
How is that an outside influence?
Because
you can say I'm just driving down the road and seeing a pretty woman. How is that outside influence?
You can start lusting for that woman or something. You know, you don't know that.
But what does that do for a marriage?
It brings a bad seed into the house, into the marriage. That's why you're not supposed to lust for other people.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And then other outside influence could be friends and family. You know, just because they did something that worked for them or didn't work, they shoved that on you, and then before you know it, you bring that into your house. And maybe it's working or maybe it's not working. So you have to be careful of some of the outside influences that you bring in.
Okay, you're dancing around a little bit. I'm going to take you off the dance. Can I dance with you a little bit, tag in?
Hey, go.
Okay, here we go. So one of the biggest influences in marriages, just all together, overall marriages, is family. Can be an issue. Why? Not because they just butt in, because you allow them to butt in. And I want to be very clear about this. Yeah. I mean, family can be, you know, I don't care if it's aunts, uncles, mama, daddies, cousins, extended cousins, great grandparents. You allow them to butt in. Because at the end of the day, it's between you and your spouse, whoever that may be. But when you start allowing other people to tell you what you need to do or they need to do in your marriage, or you start bringing them in on issues that happen. And it happens a lot where you bring them in and you get over something and they're still not over it. Yeah. Which can cause conflicts when you guys get together for family activities and family reunions and family whatever, right? Because they know that such and such did such and such.
Right. And they haven't letting it go and you guys are trying to move on. Yes. Right. That happens. That definitely happens.
Now, I'm not talking about abuse.
No.
Let's be clear. We don't condone abuse or anything like that, and definitely tell whoever you need to tell and get out as soon as you can. Verbal, physical, emotional, whatever it may be. Mental abuse.
Is that because you went to the doctor today and they asked you that question, are you okay at home?
They did. They ask me every time I go to the doctor. And then you have to think about it. I have to do a mental check just to make sure. And I usually come up with, he's outside. He brought me to the doctor's office. He's good.
Right. but yeah, that's you know, that stereotype of, you know, in-laws or evil or whatever. I've never bought into that. I come from a place where the both sides of the family kind of get together and do things together. That's kind of how I was raised. And so when I would hear stories of, ooh, I can't stand my in-laws or things like that, and I'm like, where's that coming from? That makes no sense. But I can see how that comes into the outside influence.
Well, it would be the same, because somebody's gonna say, well, what if your spouse doesn't get along with your family?
Well, I think
for good reason, just that they just don't mesh, because some people just don't mesh, and that's, yes, I said mesh.
They don't mesh, but in that instance, the spouse is the common goal, and when they love this person and their family obviously loves them as well, there has to be some kind of concession made. Even you don't have to go on vacation together, but there's times where the family gets together and you guys have to be on good behavior and acknowledge one another, because you guys are there because of the love of that person.
Okay. Yeah. So we talk about protecting what you built at all costs.
Yep.
So do we tell somebody into protecting it? Maybe do you deal with that family member? Do you not deal with that family member? Is it who is it on to have that conversation with the family member and the spouse? Because it could be the spouse is acting crazy, but just who is it on? Is it on the spouse that they don't like, or is it on the family member, the spouse who has the family member?
I think it's on the spouse who has the family member, but bringing both parties into a safe space to just have a conversation and get things out in the open. I think a lot of times, just in our culture, saying nothing, they think things kind of go away. But the reality is they're festering. It's that elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's on the spouse of the family member, but bringing it and have an open conversation, because I think the reality of it is sometimes these type of conversations need to happen, but no one is willing to take the first step to have them.
All right, I see an episode coming later on about when you don't get along with your spouse. What happened? I mean, spouse's family. What is that about? I think that's a mega good one. I don't know. You guys let me know out there. Is that a good one to talk about or not? We can bring some experts in, not just us. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we talked about outside influences, and that could be family, that could be friends. Friends is a big one. Friends is a big outside influence in marriages.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I kind of group them like family, right? It's your marriage. Whether you're whatever spouse you are in the marriage, it's your marriage. And at the end of the day, you need to check your friend.
That's right. There's sometimes where you have to stand up to your friend and say, well, you shouldn't say that, or whatever it may be, to protect your spouse. Because sometimes your friends may be saying bad things about your spouse and you're just laughing it off, but you have to stand up. That's your spouse. Stand up and protect your spouse.
In the marriage.
What
about your friend not saying bad things about the spouse, but just talking about your marriage in general?
That's a conversation you have with your friend well, look, our marriage is fine. I appreciate you may want to, interject something, or you may think this is happening. And I know you have my best intentions because you are my friend, but no, I got this. We got this covered. I know it may not look like how you want it to look or whatever that may be, but I got this. But I appreciate you looking out for me.
I can't wait for the questions that's going to come from this episode. I can't wait for your questions. I can't. You got to send them in. Definitely. We had someone, write in and say, you can dump a friend, but you're stuck with family. I disagree on that.
Yeah, I disagree.
I really disagree. And it's the hard place. It's a very hard place, but family is going to always be family in name.
But we're doing it now. You can social distance from family. Not only can you social distance from family,
there's some toxic family. So like you said, you can't pick your family. I agree with that. You cannot pick your family. But there's some toxic family that you just need to stay away from. Love them from a distance, just like that friend that you're dumping, gonna love you from a distance. And the distance is we don't have that relationship. And I know this is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but it's one that I truly believe, and I teach, that you teach people how to treat you and how to be in relationship with you, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a friend, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a client or staff or whoever it is that you're in a relationship, a colleague, you treat people. Now, there's a certain point growing up, right, that you have to do certain things. But as you become an adult in your life, you begin to understand what you need and what you don't need, what you like and what you don't like. And that's where you begin to help your family understand how to treat you and what you will. And I'll give you an example. My family knew when I got of age to drive, and they'll tell you this till today, I don't drink and I don't smoke. I don't. I come from a military family that were drinkers. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with people that drink. I just think when you grow up in one of those families, you either go one way or the other. There's no middle. You go one way or the other, right? I happen to went to the side of I don't drink, I don't smoke. And of course, when you get your license and you get of age, so like 18, 21, you know, I'm not telling my age of what the law was then, but between 18, 21, when you get your license to be able to buy cigarettes or to buy alcohol and different things of that nature, it is customary for the new people with the driver's license to do all the back and forth drive. Even if you're not going in the store and getting it yourself, can you take me to the store real quick? Mm-hmm. Can you drop me by the store real quick? I will tell you that when I taught people how I want to be treated, the first thing was all of my family, including my grandfather. So I want to go all the way up the chain, including my grandfather and my grandmother, so including my grandparents. Mm-hmm. They all knew one thing. That one thing is, I don't support your habits. It's your habit. You get in the car, you spend your gas and your time, and you go get whatever you need to go get. That's not my habit. And I'm not going back and forth to the store, and I'm not taking you back and forth to the store. That was not me being evil or harsh. That was me helping them understand who I am, who my morals, who my character was. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they all now will say, when they get ready to go, oh, don't ask her, she ain't going. She ain't going for you. Yeah. Because I taught them how to be in relationship with me, how I wanted to be treated. And one of the things was, I'm not here to be used. Mm-hmm. I'm here to love you and I'm here to support you, but I'm not here to be used.
Yeah. So what happens when you kind of change, right? Uh-huh. Or mm-hmm. if you change? Yeah. I know you haven't changed from that stance.
Right.
You don't even take me to the store.
Right, no.
But mm-hmm. you know, when I want to restock my bar, you don't even take. I have to take myself to the store to restock my bar. But I do see instances where you get older, you get more experiences, and then you begin to change. And so you have to constantly reteach people how to treat you, because sometimes, you know, you get around family and friends. I've seen where you just fall right back into your area, whatever your space was.
If you were the middle kid and this is what you did, I don't care if you
right back into your space.
She's got an aunt that's almost 50 years old, or a little bit over 50, and they still say she can't cook. She's married, she got kids,
and she can cook.
And they're grown kids.
And she can cook.
Because that's the space that she fit in. I totally get that. And I think it's, you grow, you know, sometimes you have ideas, but at the core of things, teaching people how to be in relationship with you, I don't think that changes as much. What changes, you grow and you mature, and you may add things, or you may say, no, I didn't eat meat. Now I eat meat. Mm-hmm. But that's not really teaching people how to be in relationship with me. Okay. That's just teaching people what I eat at the moment. You understand what I'm saying?
Or what I like. Well, I used to like this, but I don't like this anymore.
But that's not relationship.
Well, I think it's important that you let them know that, though.
Sometimes it's irrelevant. Okay. Sometimes it's just, no, I don't want your pork. No, thank you.
I don't know. I make a mean pork loin, so I don't know.
You do. But you understand what I'm saying? But sometimes there's no explanation required for anything. There's no long, drawn out conversation. It's just, this is what it is.
Okay.
So, but it is my responsibility to teach people how to be in relationship with me. And I can say this even so this is probably where I have more experience than you do, because of just my dynamics of my family background.
Yes.
I didn't meet my dad till I was 18. Mm-hmm. And we have a relationship, but our relationship is not like the rest of them. I have 6 siblings. Well, 6 of us. So I have 5 siblings. our relationship is not like the rest of them because they grew up with him in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I had to explain to my siblings as well as my father that you can't expect the same things out of me that you expect out of the other siblings. Mm. You can't tell me when to call him just because he's sick. You can't tell me when, no, I call him when let me know the information. Mm-hmm. And respectfully, I'll call him when I am ready to call, not because everybody else has called but me and I need to call. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because those can cause conflicts. It could cause issues outside that damage the relationship that I have inside because I'm not ready for it. Just some things to think about, just overall. But then those damages then come and violate this marriage, right? Because now I'm upset all the time, or I'm crying, or all kinds of things may be happening. We went through that.
Yeah,
we went through all of those things, which caused some things, and then you have to say, wait a minute, that has nothing to do with this. We got to get this. This is where it's at because he wasn't there.
Yeah. It's that expectation thing of what other people expect.
That's good.
And that can cause issues because when I would see you sad or upset about that or crying about that, it bothers me.
Yeah.
One, I don't know how to help you fix it.
Yes.
And two, that puts a negative thought in my mind about the situation and about the person. Yes. And so I had to figure out that for myself as well of how to, let go some of the anger that I've taken on because this is the person that I love. And that anger is energy. It transfers. And I've seen times that I've wanted to really say some things that it's better not to say, but I was ready. I was loaded and ready to say it.
I'm sure you were. And that had to do with our kids and their parents.
Yes.
It had to do with external parents. It had to do with the people that were not in this house. When we talk about external influences or outside influences, it's not about what's happening inside the house. It's what's happening outside the house that influences inside, or what's happening outside the business. Society, just the turmoil pandemic and the turmoil that's going on with that affects the business on the inside. So how do you protect what you built while things are happening in society and things are happening that you have no control over? I have no control over how people act. We have no control over of what's happening in the environment or pandemics and things of that nature. What you do have control over is remembering that I'm responsible for this here, this marriage, this business, and I need to protect it. And sometimes that means build in protection. When you look back and you can see trends, we always talk about trends and analyzing trends. It's not just in finances, it's just in life and in business, period. You watch your trends, you can learn a lot.
You can. You said that, and it actually took me back to some of the riots that we were having in our area from some of the turmoil. Yeah. And we would watch business owners on the news say, well, I came down here to protect my business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how you going to protect your business from people throwing trash cans through the door? Yeah. What are you are you really down there to be nosy? Because you can't stop that after you put up wood panel and things like that. There's pretty much nothing else you can do. Why are you down there?
Yeah,
you're probably adding to the chaos.
Yeah, could be. Or thinking good intentions. Good intentions. Either way, it may or may not be the best thing to do, and that's where you have to look at yourself and look at the outside influences. This is a great time where you're sitting home, where you're not moving as much, where you have some downtime to look at what influences are happening on the outside that's influencing the inside. And one of the things I talked about this earlier, but one of the things I realized was all of this chaos got me not being as consistent as I need to be. Consistent as I need to be at home because I'm just chilling and laying out and relaxing and watching too much TV and eating way too much food out the refrigerator. So I'm not being consistent with just the things I need to do in my home.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not being consistent in the business because all of these other distractions or other things that are happening. And because other people are home, they think they call me 24 times a day and I'm supposed to just answer and talk to them for hours and hours and hours. When no, I still have a business to run. I still have people that I'm responsible for. Yep. And I still have things that I need to do to manage the home.
Yeah, and for me, some of the outside influences is we are working from home. Yeah. So I'm not moving as much. And so therefore I need to figure out more consistency of exercise. Yeah. You know, when before the pandemic, I was able to go out, move. I did a lot more walking, did a lot more going places and things like that. But because of the pandemic and I'm stuck in the house, I have to take control of what I can take control of. And I have to be more pressing to get out more in my neighborhood walking or drive to a park and go walking, things like that, because I'm not moving as much. And so to sum up what you were talking about is people control what you can control. Those things that you can't control, then it's not worth the space and time it takes to that you're using.
100%. Yeah. You know, we want to take advice. We want to be able to be a part of life outside of just who you are. You want to be a part of society, and all of that is great. But making sure that you're controlling what you can and protecting that you built. You know, this is the second part that's coming up.
A second and third part.
That second and third part we'll see in podcasts coming up. Yeah. So we have a part 2 to protecting what you built and at all costs. And we'll be talking about internal conflicts and self-sabotage. So stay tuned till next Thursday. It's going to be More Than I Do Virtual Live Podcast.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. If you want to connect with us, please connect with us at www.morethanIdo.life. Again, morethanIdo.life. And also,
I was going to say morethanIdo.life because he was on a roll. MorethanIdo.life because there you can find out about our podcast. You can actually sign up to be a speaker if you are married and in business, or you have good stuff for people who are married and in business, then we want to talk to you. Or you want to leave us a question or a comment or anything like that. MorethanIdo.life, www.morethanIdo.life, and go take it away.
Oh, and I was going to just say thank you to Jimmy Davies and his team at Every.Black for hosting this podcast. Again, that's Every.Black. .black is the new .com.
All right. This has been Derek and Sherelle with More Than I Do
Virtual Live Podcast.
Thank you. And until next Thursday at 7:00, we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Hello.
Hello.